Good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the morning dump. It's Tuesday, July 21st. I'm your host, Jose Galison, and this is the kitty of the day, Ren, Miss Ren, one of the old ladies in our house. No more babies for her. And the little kitties are gone. All the older little kitties I showed you guys last week. Should here in a few weeks have new litter to come. I have about 12 other little kitties in the back room there. The little itty bitty beans. They're pretty adorable though, but they're too small to regularly bring up for the show. So have those to expect soon. But here's one of the mamas. Used to be mama no more. She is now retired. Very sweet lady. Ren, a chocolate tortie. Now, for those who like seeing my hot takes Monday through Friday, typically around 11 a.m. Eastern. I don't always make it like yesterday, but when I do typically try to put one of those paywalled episodes there to make up for it. And it's typically around 11 a.m. Eastern. A little late today, but that's what we shoot for. Or if you just like seeing the kitty of the day, like this Butte Ren, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications. And that way you can see when we're live and dropping new videos. With that, we'll see you in the show. All right, supposed to be playing an intro. Okay, I don't know what's up with that.
Beautiful
there we
thing.
go. Let's try
right now.
Rise and shine. It's a beautiful day. I'm alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to the white lights.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
It's crazy evil.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys had a good weekend. This is my first day rejoining you guys for the week. Dropped a Years of Lead episode yesterday. By the way, let me know, sound off in the chat if everything's working fine. Just want to make sure because I had a weird glitch. I don't know how it showed on your end, but right there at the beginning, I normally do my little like bumper at the beginning, and then I drop the intro. And whenever I want to go drop the intro, I click the button that does it, and it just didn't do it, and just sat there and waited for it to do it. It didn't do it. And then it weirdly, because it shows when the button's been clicked, and then the button was like unclicked, and so then I clicked it again, and then it ran the intro for my end. So let me know, is everything good? Sound, audio, like is everything coming over well? By the way, you got a bonus kitty back there if you just saw it. That was Katniss in the back. But okay, sounds and looks good. Anything was, I don't know. So nothing weird, like the intro didn't like double up or nothing like that. So okay. Okay, so it sounds like everyone's in the chat saying it was fine. So okay, I don't know what glitch there, but I always got to double check. StreamYard throws some weird glitches your way every now and then. So sorry to bore you with how the sausage is made, but I don't have a producer for these solo shows, so it is kind of, I got to figure it out on the fly. Sorry about that. But we have plenty to go through today. Oh, another kitty. You got Floof back there. We'll start, as always, we start the show off with some Icebreaker content, the more the fun, the funny, the Gen Pop slop, that sort of stuff. And today's no different. We have some stuff to dig through there, and then we will get into the foreign policy, a little bit denser than normal, although not too dense, because we weren't here yesterday, so a little bit of catch up from yesterday. And then we will get into the Tate bros arrested, the Tate brothers, Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate got arrested in Miami. So we'll cover that, some of the details. And in the secret history of Polymarket, we'll be reading Whitney Webb's piece on that today. It's been sitting in the bookmarks for a while, but it's one I've been wanting to dig into. And today is a good day for that. I have plenty of other segments already lined up for the rest of the week, though. Probably talk to you a little bit more on Kirk again at some point this week and other things. But for today, that's what we got. And just a little casual reminder what the show is and, kind of what the dealio is. If you're a new person, you never know. I call this show I call the format an info dump format, just kind of a bunch of different things we've bookmarked, articles, stuff like that. The show kind of tags me and stuff as well. People on the show tag me and stuff to bring up on here, so you guys can always contribute. But just kind of, usually it's kind of stuff we're processing together. So it's not highly processed stuff. Now, if you're here, I know most of you guys don't watch it live, but it is meant to be a live show. But if you don't watch it live, I do accommodate for you guys, and I do leave timestamps so you guys can jump around from topic to topic and also avoid the chat banter and basically be basically just like a normal podcast. Now, if you are here for the live experience, I do like to remind you guys you get at least one good morning, and after that, you got to catch my interest or catch my wallet. But yeah, I look forward to cracking into the chat and talking to you beautiful people. With that, let's just go ahead and get into our icebreaker content. Just go ahead and start off. Let's get right into it. Our last, me and you guys talked, we talked about, pretty much most of the show consisted of the JD experience, talking about JD Vance on JRE. And I figured just for funsies, we'd crack back into it. One little tidbit, one little angle I did not quite cover. I've heard a lot of the lefty types bringing this criticism up, which I find mildly humorous. I do feel like they're kind of like really, overextending themselves here. I feel like there's something interesting to be said there too. Maybe this has something to do with the new, how do I say this? The new dynamic that's being formed around the right, in the sense of like how they use rhetoric. They're far more open to saying things like faggot and but yeah, at the same time, somehow still weirdly retaining their wokeness. But either way, they've been really getting into gay stuff lately. I guess it's kind of what I'm getting at with the left and their sort of criticisms. And there's definitely a lot to criticize there. So I'm glad to have them on the boat. But it's just like maybe they're just a little bit elementary in their humor, I guess. And so we've been stirring in this humor for a while. So they're just like, haha, pee pee poo poo. And you're like, okay, cool. That's funny. But one thing they made a lot of hay about is JD Vance. Here's Hunter Biden, for example. I've seen a number of other people say it as well. Here he is sharing a picture of JD Vance from the JRE experience. It says, JD Vance admits Joe Biden eating ice cream makes him think of sex. Hunter Biden says, I don't even know what to say anymore. Couches and now this. Now, I don't know the couch reference. I vaguely recall it. I think it had something to do with, I think this is another one of the things that the establishment types are making hay about, but nobody really cared. I swear, somebody in the chat chime off if you know this, but I swear my vague recollection is that this is totally just off the cuff. I feel like it might have been something in his book, which, what was it called? Elegy, Hillbilly Elegy or whatever, or some shit. And I think it may have been something like words, right? Hard. Prepubescent or pubescent years, kind of in those changing years as a young man. And I swear he said something about fucking his couch or his couch pillows or something like that, which is hilarious. And another one of those things where it's just I know the establishment kind of misses the mark and okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know what I was fucking at that age, but I'm sure I swear I probably tried to do the pillow, push down and you're dumb. You're dumb. You're horned up. You're dudes do this shit. I'm sorry if we're breaking new ground here for the 3 chicks in the live chat, but this is the sort of weird shit dudes do at that young age. I feel bad for mothers who catch this. Luckily, I don't have sons, although daughters open up a whole other problems. But either way, I mean, I guess if I had sons, this sort of stuff I just laugh at. But as a mother, I could see how this would be horrifying. But anyways, I guess I have the same problem flip side with me and girls. But either way, this is what they made a lot of hay about. Kind of funny. I feel like maybe just kind of overextending themselves a little bit. But here's actually the clip itself that they're referring to, just to look at it. Let's just so you know what they're talking about. It is kind of funny. I will admit he chose his words a little bit not quite good, I guess you could say.
The thing I couldn't get over Biden is just bad staff work, man. The way that he ate ice cream. I mean, it's like, we could bring some of this stuff up, but it's like they would get him eating ice cream in the most ridiculous, suggestive way imaginable. The thing I couldn't get over Biden is...
So there you go. There's the line. It says his staff would get him to eat ice cream in just the most suggestive way possible, which is like, okay, suggestive kind of implies sexual, I guess. I guess I don't really understand another way to mean that. I don't think maybe suggestive. I think he was just using the wrong word. I think it was just a word choice thing. I guess maybe, actually, you know what? Now the more I think about it, I'm like, what other way could he mean that? I think maybe he did mean that. I'm trying to understand this because it's like, maybe suggestive. I'm trying to think of maybe he meant it something else because I'm trying to think what word, because he did eat it in a funny way, but it was more in like an old, I never saw that and was like, you know what that's like? That's like Joe eating a dick. I mean, maybe I did. Maybe somebody's going to like look back at Twitter and be like, Siri, you said it would looks like Biden sucking dick, but I don't recall. So like, I mean, but he did kind of eat in a funny way, I guess, and more just kind of like, what a weird old guy. But for some reason, I guess that's where JD's head goes. Like, oh, it's like he's sucking penis. Which, like, don't get me wrong, my head's just as immature. But I guess I'm just saying, I don't know. I guess I'm on I'm on an advanced pee poo poo, and they're just like on pee poo poo 101. I guess maybe because I'm not at all trying to like claim maturity. I guess it's like maturity in immaturity, I guess would be the way to say it. But anyways, that's what a lot of people are making a big deal out of there. Although I will say, for those who weren't here for the last episode, to get a little bit of a recap, it was basically just Joe Rogan and JD Vance essentially doing just this. Sorry, of course, StreamYard just pooped the bed. I hope it didn't do it in the last one. I think it just did it just here, though. Although the audio doesn't matter. But here's a tweet from a friend of the show, Bazillion Thought. We've had him on forever ago. Basil of Benny and Basil. He says, here's your favorite right-wing take seller preparing for his invitation to a Founders Fun barbecue. Now Joe and JD, they've already gotten the invitation. They've already been there. This is just securing the next year's one and just kind of, he's my boy. You got to keep up for your boo. But here you go. Here's what the boys be doing for those Founder Fun barbecue invitations. Rocks is it with the juxtaposition of like the gayest shit you've ever seen with it is pretty great. For those who catch us on the audio and for some reason stick around for these visual gags, that is I know, just some sort of like exercise room, exercise class or some sort of, they're doing all sorts of crazy sexual positions. Like there's one where someone has like one of those little itty bitty medicine ball thingies that I guess you almost more used to like kind of roll out with. And he's like literally just like humping it on the ground type thing. And there's just like every imaginable like humping or like, throwing your ass back type thing you can think of, type of exercise. There's a bunch of like pretty masculine looking dudes. Generally, I mean, not all of them. There's some chicks. So that's what kind of makes it funny. So it's like all these like, I mean, there's a couple like string beans, but they definitely really focus in on the kind of like what's generally sort of hyper masculine looking dudes. So either way, I don't know why I'm trying to explain this to people. You got to watch this, catch the live experience. And those who don't know what the hell I'm talking about when we talk about the Founders Fun Barbecue, here's just a little bit of a look at the homepage of the Founders Fund. It hosts, has podcasts on here. So just a bunch of different articles, essays, more. Oh, wow. Right at the top, Hereticon. We talked about that before. Peter Thiel's diversity myth. Let's see more articles, essays. But this right here, this is essentially what this is an American venture capital firm. This was founded in 2005 in San Francisco. The latest that I'm seeing, I don't know exactly what their current funds are, but just kind of off of Wiki, roughly $17 billion in total assets under management. This is in 2025, and the big name here, a lot of you guys will recognize, Peter Thiel. So Peter Thiel, this was founded by Peter Thiel, Ken Howery, and Luke Nosek. So there's a lot of lore behind here about, for particularly JD Vance and others, are these regular founder funds barbecues. This is essentially what they do, is they're literally looking for people to fund. So you can see this homepage: new defense for new terrain, adapt, design, deploy. What is their manifesto here? It says, we invest in smart people solving difficult problems, often difficult scientific or engineering problems. So this is another thing to think about. When you see all these people hanging out with Thiel, they literally have this thing, this to invest in people. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if certain people like, say, Tom O'Neill from Chaos and many other people that have kind of entered his sphere just kind of casually like, oh, okay, well, we'll help fund you with X, Y, and Z. I mean, hell, they're even literally including podcasts and articles here, so it's almost, I feel like, implied. So just kind of showing this literally this uber billionaire hyper connected into the government that has this forward facing, completely legit, essentially fund for whatever. And a lot of people, a lot of rumors about what happens at these founder fund barbecues. But let's pop in another one of his little acolytes, or at least if he's not, Teal would like him to be. But most people kind of think Clavicular is one at this point. Apparently, he just broke up with his girlfriend. So let's touch in on the homie Clavicular. Obviously, I say that ironically. I don't know the guy, although I do want to just kind of, every time I one of these little sad stories, just like I want to take Clavicular, just want to hold him, but like, come here, buddy. What are you doing? And then he's just going to stare me in the face and then mog me and be like, bitch, you're a foot shorter than me. And I'd be like, yeah, but like, I mean, I could still beat the fuck out of you, and you have a little weird nose, and your life is a complete disarray. But I mean, hey, who am I going to criticize? I just feel like maybe somebody that's like above 6 foot that he would actually respect needs to like take him aside and be like, come on, dude. Like, just kind of man to man. Like, what's going on here? I'm not going to go into I do find weirdly this whole Clavicular thing compelling. I've talked a lot about like kind of the contrast between like from my growing up, a similar sort of thing like Ziz. I find it interesting that this is this weird like hollow mimetic thing, whereas like the Ziz thing of the past was almost like this Nietzschean. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so I'm getting off track. So I guess in that sense, this would be totally something, a certain spirit, I guess you could say, that Peter Thiel would definitely like to corrupt. But here's Clavicular. Apparently, here's the caption. It says, Clavicular's girlfriend begged him not to break up with her after he went live to end their relationship. Jake Shields saying, we are living strange times when the kids are live streaming their breakups. He also says she is making him look bad when he just went to Israel to do rehab. Its image, which is just, I don't know, this is all just sad. Like, I don't know. I guess it's what the kids do now, but I guess let's experience this. I haven't watched this yet. I feel like this is going to just make me really sad, but let's watch it. There's certain things that don't need to be shared. I don't know. Just, like, for example, I know, was it Tom Sakura and Christina? I don't watch their show regularly or anything, but I see clips and videos here and there on YouTube. And apparently they're going through divorce. Everyone's making making shitload of content out of it. And I'm not gonna lie, I may have you partaken because it's kind of fun, but it's also kind of like you don't fucking know what's going on in that marriage. Like, there's certain things that just like it just feels like gross to bring this parasocial dynamic into it. I don't know. There's certain things that just like I'm never really gonna bring you along for. Although I say this, and I've said pretty crazy stuff. I mean, I've talked to Tower Gang about like all sorts of sexual things, this and that. But like, I don't know, different format. But even then, it's still, there's certain things that are just can stay private. And this seems like one of them. But let's watch this.
No. So lost.
Come here. Come here.
Can you stop?
Come on.
Can you stop? Can you just leave me alone? Just leave me alone. It's too late. It's done. Because you just make me look bad all the time.
How? How do I make you look bad? You don't look bad.
No, because like you do stupid stuff and then I get mad, rightfully so, and then it just gets clipped on TikTok of me getting mad when I show.
If you're right for being mad, then it's right.
No, you ruin my reputation.
No.
Yeah, you do. So,
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
You're fine.
No.
How?
No.
Are you kidding me? No, I don't.
I like you as a person, but
What?
I think we should just be.
Kidding me?
I do want to pause and say once again, I guess if you do want to soak it all in, another thing that's hilarious here, previous thing, the contrast of the music, once again, the music, the weird house music in the background as they're having this serious moment. I guess it releases attention, at least for me. I was expecting this to be very gross, I do hate it. I hate this. But I thought it was just going to be like really sad, and it kind of is, but at least the goofy, like upbeat house music is kind of lightening the tension for me.
Why do you care if we're just friends?
No, now it's gone. Now it's sad.
Okay. Well, I gotta prioritize my career.
That's fine. And I'm here to support you.
No, you just make me look too bad.
Every step of the way, like, yes. Go out, have fun.
I don't like when they fight.
No, you make me look.
I can't stand it. I don't
You
like
make me
it.
look bad.
Do whatever you want. I don't care. I'm here for you.
No.
I'm not trying to make you look bad.
Because you say that.
All right, I think that's enough. I don't want to do the rest of this. This is just pathetic. All right, this is sad. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts? I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm not saying there's no place for personal things at all online. But I mean, I don't know, when you're getting this performative sort of, and I think it's real. This is like the blurring of real and performative. I don't know, I guess it's like the people that like, you know, when I used to regularly be on Facebook, the people would be like always posting about their relationship and how much they love. And those are like typically the ones that are probably having the most problems. I just feel like, I don't know, I don't like this performative thing. I don't know. It's gross. What are you guys' thoughts? Let's roll through the chat. Say some good mornings, say some hellos, and then we will get into the foreign policy coverage. Let's check in the beautiful people. Got a good show out for today already. Nice. Hit that like button as you're rolling in. Help a brother out. But yeah, let's roll through. Let's check in on you beautiful people. User Chadhead in here first. Got here nice and early. Says show is not started. There is still time to leave a like. I got fired from pool cleaning, moving from Texas back to Minneapolis where it's cooler. Well, I'm sorry to hear about the job. I hope everything else is going good. I hope you're doing good otherwise. I don't know your circumstances. I mean, who knows? If you're a single guy, that's whatever. If you're a guy who's got like, I don't know, some huge family, that's another story. But I hope everything's going good for you, and I hope you're having a good morning. Otherwise, I'm assuming maybe you have family in Minneapolis or something. So who knows? Maybe it would be a nice new start. But good morning, Shannon Jones. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Oxtail. Saying, what's up, you gay nerds? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, say what now? Good morning, Tom333. I don't know why I said three times. Good morning, Retardo. Good morning, good morning. Says, morning, my nigga Jose and fellow dumpers. I'll say that. I guess if I can say nigga, I'll say niggies too. I'm not hard R-ing it on here, though, because I think that's what they deboost me for. And I like to keep having a decent amount of people showing up. Although I'm going to fuck up. So I don't even know why I say otherwise. I'm going to say all the no words. So the most I can really do is hold back the hard R's. We're going to be talking about all sorts of graping and craziness probably. So I don't know why I bother. But maybe at least not in the first 5 minutes or something. I don't know. Good morning, Joshsman. Give me a little audio update. Appreciate it. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Fire Pixie on both ends. So a double good morning to you, you nice lady. Good morning, Bug Fights over on Rumble now. People are doubling up. I'm training you guys well. Good morning, Daz, or afternoon to you. You're over across the pond. Bug Fights is over in the ER with kidney stones, so hanging out with us while we do that. Hopefully you're a little loopy on something. Sorry to hear about the stones. Good morning, Auburn, saying Taint Bros. Speaking of the bros, Austin dropped a new live stream over the weekend, so go check that out. Did pretty well. Encourage that. I'd like to see him start doing some more live streams every now and then, so I think it's good to get those words out. Good morning, everybody. So here we go. Now we're getting to the couch fucking. We got Tom. Hey, say what now? Both admitting, yeah, he fucked in his couch. Fucked his couch as a kid. Yeah, I mean, like, that's what you do. I mean, what do you do when you're 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27? I mean, you get the idea. Like, what do you do? Obviously, that's a joke. Who else? We got good morning, Northside. Good morning, saying, I'm used to talking to cats. Give me a break. Give me a break for what? What did I do wrong? But yeah, I am not the paragon of professionality, that is for sure. But I am a purveyor of big words, that's for sure. Good morning. Did I say good morning to you, Marnimac? If not, you get another one. It says there's a movie created on the basis of a dude putting his wiener in a pie. Exactly. You know, like American Pie. Like, dude. And like, that's one of those ones that like, I really, and he was a teenager. Like, that's not even like the tiniest bit like, I mean, maybe it was some retarded teenagers, but I think by teen years, I was out of that. Like, I mean, I don't even think, I think like by teenage, I could just understand, I could look at the pie, I could look at the pie and just understand the logistics of a hot pie, even if it was warm, even if we take out the hot out of the factor, make it warm to where like you won't burn yourself, the logistics of that are not going to work. Like you don't need to, like, as soon as you just like, once you've already become familiar, you've tried the couches, like, you're not going to try pies. Like, I just, like, it's not even in the realm of, like, I mean, maybe this is just the way my autistic brain worked. I just, from the beginning, is like, the numbers just don't number here. Like, they just don't work. But yeah, you're not, the pie thing's retarded. And the ad, he's supposed to be like a fucking senior. That's just nuts. Just retarded. Just shitty writing. But I go check that early life. Good morning, John Black. Good morning. Telling you guys to eat up the slopaganda and all the Psy slop. Reminding me I am a handsome beast and you are a beautiful bastard. Good morning, Tilla. This is just got here. It's already gay. Yes. What else? We got John Black says my daughter walked in here and said we're all faggots. I like it, all the reactions, people just walking in on that. So someone saying I'm a mostly audio listener, heard the music, and knew it was about to be some gay shit. That's something I could totally work out too. I was literally like looking and thinking like I'd try to hunt down I have no idea how I'd hunt down whatever that music is though. So good morning, Hotep Beavis saying JD Vance, aliens are demons, bruh. I agree. The ninjas and yeets are demons and should be exercised. Yep. Good morning. That one chick, Chris. Good morning, Manda Panda. Saying everywhere I go, it's Clav. Get this guy off our screens. Yes, I agree. I do think there's some merit in bringing him up, although I do kind of feel like I'm contributing. What is with my words? Contributing to the problem when I bring him up. But I don't know. I guess I almost feel a responsibility because he seems like it very much like, obviously, I mean, me and him are very different, but he's just, you're from every man's at one point been a young man. And so like, I can kind of recognize that crossroads in life. And so like, and he's very clearly to me taking the wrong path, but it's like a wrong path that in some ways is like, it's, how do I say this? It's almost, it's been discussed. That's not the right way to put it. Like there's some good reason or it's a pale reflection, I guess the way I'd be saying, of what is not the right path, but I guess like a right path towards like, I guess, masculinity or ascension or all the sort of things he talks about. I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to drive at a little bit with like my comparing it to like the Zizzy and the idea where like the Clavs is just aspiring for copying, whereas like something like the Zizzians are aspiring for like ascension, a personal ascension. Like you're trying to aspire for something for yourself, like to be better or whatever, as opposed to looking around at the world and saying, what does the world want? And what should I give them? That's kind of what I'm getting at. So I guess I do feel some sort of compulsion to cover him in the sense of like, if there are any 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 year olds that listen to this show, then maybe they could see this and be like, yeah, that is pretty whack. I don't know. But anyways, let's move on. Good morning, Black Eye. Fire Pixie says poorly acted script. I don't know if it's a poorly acted script. I get the impression that it's like kind of real, but it feels like a poorly acted script because it's so awkward and they feel uncomfortable because there is this, I feel like almost this probably inner voice pulling them. They're like, why am I doing this on camera? This is something that should be personally done between us. And then even then the reasonings he's giving where it's all about like image and like you make me look bad. I think there is a lot of like, he just knows. He feels, I think he rightly feels insecure about the situation. Is essentially why he's behaving that way. And it kind of comes off that way. Good morning, Black Eye. Good morning, Gautis. Good morning, Real John Doe. Yeah, see, Qbert backing me up says, I put my dick in a lot of things, but never pie. Exactly. Like, yeah, I've put, same here. I've tried all the things that are in the realm of possibility. Pie is not in the realm of possibility, and you don't, it's like the idea of I don't need to eat poop to know it doesn't taste good. Like, I can look at a pie and go, that ain't going to work. So yeah, see, a lot of people saying he should stop covering Tom saying he's liking Q calling me calling me ugly. John Black says, I didn't even notice. It says if you use product placement in your stream, turn the dish soap around so we can see the brand name. I actually think it's Dawn, so that's pretty. For those who aren't aware, after Tower Gang, I got sponsored by Dawn. Dawn, the best thing to clean your chicken with, guys. I think it's Dawn. It's whatever the name brand is. I forgot it was back there. But all right, let's get into some foreign policy. Nice talking to you, wonderful people. But yeah, let's get some foreign policy, check in on the latest. Been having a little bit on a high. Been goofing around with you guys. Going to be a little bit more somber here now. Got a real sad one. That's been one that I've been kind of, I don't know, thinking about a lot, I guess, in the past few days. This whole story, because it's pretty sad, and I don't know, it hits kind of close to home in a way for me. I don't expect you guys at all to feel, similar, but I assume you guys could see somewhat why. But here's a piece from over at antiwar.com. Written by Dave DeCamp here. It says, CENTCOM says U.S. soldier killed in Iraq, bringing number of U.S. troops killed in recent days to 4. So CENTCOM said on Sunday that a U.S. soldier was killed in Iraq on July 18th, but I know it's in Iraq. I don't know if they might give us some specifics here, but for those who aren't, there is, exchanges happening in Iraq too. And also they're like kind of hitting us. It's not all happening in Iran, I guess. It's kind of what I'm driving at, because a lot of people are like, what the fuck? Why are they being killed in Iraq? I'm sure we'll probably get more details here in a second, but it's not all, unfortunately, being contained to Iran. It's spilling out all over the place. That's kind of the big issue with this whole ordeal, is that pretty much the most of our bases we've been building up over the past decades are pretty much all in direct range of Iran. And Iraq is one of those locations. And also we have Iraqi fighting forces that were involved in some of this too. So anyways, backing up, this is on July 18th that they announced this. This brings the total number of U.S. troops killed in the war to at least 4. This is in recent days, including one who is still missing but presumed dead, while U.S. strikes in Iran in recent weeks have killed more than 50 Iranians. CENTCOM said that a U.S. service member in northern Iraq was killed in action on July 18th during a controlled detonation of an unexploded ordnance from a downed Iranian one-way attack drone. The command added that a second service member was wounded in the incident and still receiving medical treatment. The incident came a day after an Iranian missile strike hit Jordan's Muwafaq Salti Air Base in Azraq, killing 2 U.S. soldiers and leaving 1 missing. While the death of the missing service member hasn't been officially confirmed, CENTCOM said remains that are likely those of the missing soldier have been found. After thorough research, U.S. military personnel found unidentified remains at the location earlier today. Examination process to verify the remains is ongoing. According to the official count, at least 17 soldiers have been killed in the Iran war since Trump launched it with Israel on February 28th. So 17 altogether. We've had 4 in recent days since things have kicked back off. The deaths in Jordan mark the first known U.S. deaths in the war since the U.S. resumed its attacks on Iran several weeks ago. Iran's health ministry said on Sunday that since June 7th, U.S. attacks have killed more than 50 Iranians and wounded 517. The ministry said the fatalities include 2 children and 5 women, and that 35 women and 19 children have been wounded. The strike on the U.S. base in Jordan, which marked at least the 4th Iranian attack on U.S. facilities in the country over 5 days, came after the U.S. bombed civilian infrastructure in Iran, including bridges and power stations. The U.S. launched more attacks on Iran on Saturday that it said were to punish the IRGC for killing U.S. troops, and Iranian forces have continued to hit back at U.S. bases. And this is one of those ones that really just kind of really fucks me up. Here is one of the people, 19 years old. This was Isabella Gonzalez. As Mel points out here, she's the saddest thing about this is she joined the military after Trump was reelected, probably because she actually believed him when he lied and said he wasn't going to start a war. He was going to end the wars. Now, I guess add, I mean, obviously, I don't know all her motivations. I don't know this woman, but I'll be kind of honest. At that age, and I know when I joined, I doubt that was probably, the something heavily on her mind, the specific political leadership and likely the direction, yada, yada, yada. I don't know the specifics of why she joined, but yeah, here's a little bit of a slideshow of her. This is Isabel Gonzalez, 19 years old. She's in the class of 2025 at Hebron High School. She and her family live in Carrollton, Texas. On Friday, July 17, 2026, she was killed in Jordan. She was a private. I did not have the honor of knowing this outstanding young lady, says this person, while she's alive. Okay, yada, okay, whatever. That stuff's not important. But here's a little slideshow I figured I'd show to you guys of her. Pretty messed up. She's only 3 years older than my daughter, and I guess in a similar kind of commentary as I gave on Clav just a bit ago, and kind of like being at that time of her life, and I've been there. Same exact here, and it kind of makes it even weirder in that like she's almost my daughter's age. And also, like, I actually have troops that I remember that look just like her. Female troop that during my time. So it's pretty messed up. Let's watch this. Just fucked up stuff. Here you go.
This is Isabel Gonzalez. She was 19 years old, and on July 17th, in Jordan, she was one of 2 of the service members whose lives were taken while serving the United States Army. She graduated from Hebron High School. She was part of the class of 2025. At the young age of 19, Isabella showed more bravery than 99% of this world's population. She saved more lives at 19 than I would say 98% do by the time they reach 90.
Wait, what? Did I miss something? Where is she in this like saving lives thing? Did I miss something? Or is she just mean military? Is it just one of those people who are like, is it just some military slop? I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to take away from, obviously, it's awful. It's a tragedy. I'm just like, I'm confused. Like, did I miss something? Did she say something? Let's play this over again. Because I'm like, did I miss something about her? Like, was she a paramedic or something?
At the young age of 19, Isabella showed more bravery than 90% Army. She graduated from Hebron High School. She was part of the class of 2025. At the young age of 19, Isabella showed more bravery than 99% of this world's population. She saved more lives at 19 than I would say 98% do by the time they reach 90. She enthusiastically, with pride, chose to be exactly where she was and chose to do exactly what she was doing. Now, I never had the honor of meeting this incredible person.
Oh, this is whoever okay, I get it. This is whoever made this Eris account. I'm guessing it's just a few hundred. But anyways, I guess let's finish it. So that's where this emotional stuff is coming from. I don't know if because the way she's talking is like she has some sort of inside track. Maybe she knows him. Let's keep going.
But I do have the opportunity of making sure we never forget her name. And we all are aware of the sacrifice she and her family have made. Thank you, Isabella Gonzalez, for serving your country and for serving us the way you did. I'm going to ask that you please share this video and please remember who Isabella is. And
all right. Well, I'm sorry about a little bit of the slop in there. If that is true, that she enthused, like, I know that just makes it all the more sad. But it's awful. I want to look up her MOS real quick because I'm curious what she even does. I have a feeling that it probably was some sort of like noner sort of thing that, the sort of thing most people would assume, oh, this will never encounter any sort of combat, something or other. So let me look it up because I heard something that, well, it's like missile defense. Yep, she was an Army Air and Missile Defense Command soldier. So there you go. Yes, she was sitting in some little nerd place somewhere doing nerd shit thinking, I'm doing little nerd stuff. No, don't get me wrong. She's doing nerd stuff that's like, well, it's air defense. So hers is probably mostly defensive, although it is part of a larger war, obviously. But anyways, so she was likely in some sort of nerd, doing some sort of missile defense, something or other. It's not like she was on some, your normal, typical conception of how this works, when you're young and an idiot and you just think like, oh, I'm going to join the military and this is what's going to happen. You think like, oh, I'll be, walking Fallujah and I might step on a mine because I'm, working on a convoy, or I might get shot as infantry because I'm kind of, I don't know, walking around in the streets of wherever, But most people aren't like, oh, I'm going to be sitting in some fucking satellite station or somewhere and I'm going to get fucking blown away. Well, that's the current paradigm. So just all the more reason not to join the fucking military, to be very absolutely clear where I'm coming from. So don't join the military. I think, honestly, it should be one of those things to start to develop some sort of level of shame. I mean, look at this Iran war at this point. Like, obviously, I understand coming from the, being there, it's not really easy. You can't just leave. But to some degree, it is like, there should be some level of, like, shame. Like, if I was still in right now, I would feel shame. Like, the fact that, like, there is no way to, a lot of the actions that we're carrying out are just flagrantly, the Manob school shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, we gave them something worse than our 9/11. Like, I just don't, there's nothing, there's struggle. This is like, I think one of the most, I think I heard something recently that this has become now the most unpopular war of all time, or something like, it's something crazy. I forget the specific qualifier there, but I mean, and there's more than just that too. Even if, let's even put that aside, I can tell you as someone who did over a decade, like even that aside, even if you do have the like cushy job, because I was an aircraft mechanic. This is why I did join because I did actually want to kill people, and I've talked about that before. I failed out of Special Force, well, something like Special Forces, because due to my vision, I was only applicable for like one job. It's technically not. But I failed out, and then I just got recycled into some, not non-er, obviously, it is a mission essential job, fixing aircraft. And so they just kind of like, I do kind of understand where these people are coming from. Most of these people I don't think ever really anticipated, even those people who joined for those positions, that they're really ever going to see anything resembling combat. And then once they're in, they get the same feeling. So, but anyways, my point being is like, I can even say as somebody who lived the life of someone who wasn't going to see combat, like I'm not trying to say I've seen combat or anything. Even if you do have just a sterilized military job where, whatever, even still, don't join. It's just going to grate away at your soul. It's just, there's many other reasons. I could spend a lot of time, but I mean, this is one really good reason right here. So definitely, I don't know. We need to start applying some level of shame or something, because I don't know. I just can't even wrap my head around. I mean, I understand people that like. I'm just saying, if you're in the military now, you should really be thinking like how the fuck you get off. I understand if you're like 15 years in or something, and you have some cush job and you're 5 years of retirement. But if you're like less than 10 years in, I don't know what the fuck you are doing. You need to be getting the fuck out if you're near the end of your enlistment, whatever. But sorry, I got off on a tangent. But more on this. Apparently, the Pentagon has withheld dozens of military injuries. This was in days that led up to the attack that killed these troops. So I mean, so they kind of hid the political reality before it even got even worse, to where we have these dead here. So the New York Times reported on Monday, the Pentagon didn't disclose that U.S. troops had been injured by Iranian attacks on Jordan in the week leading up to the missile strikes that killed at least 2 soldiers and left 1 missing. U.S. officials told the Times in the days before the deadly January 17 attack, Iranian strikes on U.S. facilities in Jordan injured dozens of U.S. service members and damaged multiple U.S. military helicopters. Throughout that same week, CENTCOM released multiple statements on the U.S. airstrikes against Iran and other military operations, but made no mentions of the injuries, following a pattern of the U.S. hiding casualties throughout the war. A day after the deadly attack in Jordan, another U.S. soldier was killed in Iraq during what CENTCOM called the controlled detonation of... All right, we already covered that. The U.S. military identified the other 2 Army soldiers killed in Jordan, which included 19-year-old woman, Private Isabella Gonzalez of Carrollton, Texas, who died on Friday. Their soldier, First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan, 25, of Iwa Beach, Hawaii, died of his wounds on Saturday. And I'd almost guarantee he has some other sort of fucking nerd job, too. He's a first lieutenant. I always mix up first and second for some reason. Which is the butter bar and which is not. I think that's because I think it goes first and then you jump up to second to lieutenant. I mean, obviously you're like, are you saying first as in like first place? But no, I think it's second then first, or no, first then second. So he's literally, he is an officer, but he's basically just as green as any other person fresh out of basic. It sounds like as a first lieutenant, he just has a little bit of college as opposed to everybody else. So he died of his wounds on Saturday. Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell initially rejected the Times report as baseless and malicious, but then acknowledged that nearly 100 U.S. troops have been injured in the war since July 7th, though he downplayed the injuries. While nearly 100 service members were deemed to have some degree of injury since July 7th, 2026, 96% have returned to duty. They are determined to get back in the fight. Parnell wrote an X, the vast majority of injuries experienced were minor concussions. Further updates will be posted on the Defense Casualty Analysis System. According to the Pentagon's numbers, at least 18 U.S. service members have been killed and more than 500 have been wounded since Trump launched the Iran war on February 28th. U.S. and Israeli attacks on Iran in that time have killed around 3,500 Iranians, including more than 50 since the U.S. renewed strikes several weeks ago. In April, Iranian officials said nearly half of those killed were civilians, including the 120 school children killed in the U.S. bombing of an elementary school in Manab, southern Iran. And then another thing, making things even worse, aggravating the tensions even more. The thing we've been warning you about happening for a while is happening, although like kind of, sort of, not entirely. We've talked a lot about the Yemenis, Houthis, and shutting down their strait they have. I always fuck it up. It's such a weird. Let me see. I'll look it up real quick. It's in the article, I'm sure. It's like the Al-Mandab Strait or something like that. I always forget it, but it's another one of these major straits that oil and cargo goes through. And apparently they are getting ready to block it off for Saudi Arabia, although Saudi Arabia is a big mover of gas. So obviously this is going to aggravate the problem. Although I guess the caveat here makes it so maybe not as much as it could. So this is specifically related to Saudi Arabia reigniting conflict with the Houthis. Although the Houthis have been threatening to blockade off that area in response to the Iranian hostilities. Just to be clear what's going on here. I know there's so many moving parts, it gets confusing. So that's why this is happening, and that's why they're explicitly just targeting Saudi Arabia as opposed to the U.S. and Israel if this had been in response to Iranian stuff. But either way, this is obviously going to affect the global oil market. So the Yemeni Houthis, officially known as Ansar Allah, announced on Monday its forces were imposing a maritime blockade on Saudi Arabia. A move that came a week after the Saudis bombed Sana'a International Airport in Yemen. Ansar Allah military spokesman Yahya Saree said the blockade was a response to the long-standing Saudi blockade on Yemeni ports and seaports, which was eased under a 2022 ceasefire deal but was never fully lifted. The Saudi strikes on Sana'a Airport were done to enforce the blockade and prevent a plane from landing that was carrying a Yemeni delegation that visited Iran for the funeral of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The blockade is expected to significantly exacerbate the global economic fallout caused by the U.S.-Israeli war against Iran and could have a significant impact on Saudi Arabia's oil exports as it has grown more reliant on its Red Sea coast amid the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Saudi strikes on Sana'a Airport appear to have reignited the war after 4 years of a ceasefire that has held relatively well. In the immediate aftermath, Ansar Allah fired missiles and drones into Saudi Arabia, targeting the Aba International Airport, and both sides appear to be preparing for further escalation. Saree said he was calling on Yemenis to continue the general mobilization and general call to arms and to be fully prepared for all scenarios and developments and to support the fronts with fighters. Trump backed the Saudi strikes on Sana'a Airport, giving Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman several days before the attacks were launched. According to a report from Axios, I think they had a typo there. I think he meant to say giving him the green light. I've seen that reported elsewhere. Middle East Eye reported that Saudi Arabia is considering further attacks and likely has U.S. support. So looking like we got U.S. support here. U.S. and Ansar Allah have been in a state of ceasefire since May 2025, while Trump gave up on a bombing campaign that was an attempt to end the Yemeni blockade on Israeli shipping in the Red Sea, which was imposed in response to Israel's genocidal war in Gaza. So, yup, great. And we got more hostilities over in Somalia. They're up to number 76 of those drone strikes. So, once again, reminder, 124, the previous record. They are well on target to do it, and we're one of the few places reporting on this. So, yup, and no one seems to give a shit, I guess, despite the fact that they're bombing the absolute fuck out of Somalia more than anyone has bombed Somalia. The only person who's bombed even comparable to Trump in this current term was Trump from his previous term, which was where you get the previous record, which was around before last year's record was 60-something-ish, and then they doubled it here, and they're well on track to beat this one as well. So essentially Trump has something like at least the previous three presidents, if not more, beaten when it comes to striking Somalia for some reason. So continuing on, we got this weird own goal from the United States, or from the White House here. Apparently they shared a 3-week-old poll that shows the majority of Americans supported the Iran peace deal. So bizarre move. Although I guess the idea here is just kind of we'll trust Trump, you should just, any action he's doing, you should be supporting it at that given time, even if I know, it's just confusing. So the White House on Monday shared the results of a poll from about 3 weeks ago that shows the majority of American voters supported the U.S.-Iran MOU, which Trump has since declared is over as he has restarted the bombing campaign against Iran. Trump has also shared the results of the survey from Big Data Poll, which found that 60.4% of American voters supported the MOU, 23.7% opposed it, and 15.9% were unsure. So it sounds like he's like flouting this about as like a, ooh, look at the great stuff we're doing. Look how the American people support what we're doing. When it's like, yeah, but you're not doing that anymore. You're doing the very opposite. Anyways, the poll shows overwhelming support among Trump voters, with 76.7% supporting the MOU, and a slim majority of Kamala Harris voters also supporting the deal. It says, trust in Trump. Voters overwhelmingly support Iran peace deal, the White House said on X, a post that came after the U.S. concluded its 9th consecutive night. So that it's just, the messaging here is confusing for sure. I mean, I guess it really is that those first 3 words, the trust in Trump. It really is just whatever the given thing is. I don't care if we're doing a complete 180 different thing the next day. You should have supported it the day before and the day after, whatever the two, even if they're diametrically opposed things, doesn't matter. When the poll was conducted, administration officials were defending the MOU and the idea of diplomacy with Iran in general. But since the restarting, Trump has been threatening to escalate the war. Hours after he shared the results, the president threatened more strikes in Iran if more U.S. troops were killed. This is what he said. Every time Iran kills an American soldier, they will pay for that killing many times over, which is unironic, which ironically is going to lead to more soldiers dying. If this is true, this directive has been passed on to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Daniel Kaine, and every leader in the military, Trump wrote on Truth Social. I've heard that apparently there's been a lot of people fantasizing. I guess Netanyahu is getting ready to come to the U.S. again here soon. There's been lots of people fantasizing that perhaps, with was it the ICC, the arrest warrant out on Netanyahu, that perhaps he'll finally get arrested. We got Mamdani in there now. He was notably not really, I guess we wouldn't say anti-Zionist, but like he's not pro-Zionist. That's for damn sure. That's kind of how he marketed himself. Kind of, I'm for New York. I'm not worried about that other shit. So a lot of people be like, hey, well then you should be able to, abide by the ICC as you're supposed to. There's no real reason why not. You don't really like this fucking guy. Well, not looking like it's going to happen. Trump already chimed in on this too. Here is what he put in a Truth Social. He says, Benjamin Netanyahu will not be arrested in any way, shape, or form while in the United States of America. He's fighting against the Islamic Republic of Iran, which recently killed 52,000 innocent protesters, which is like probably well over 10x the actual figure, and has spent the last 47 years killing American soldiers and others. The only ones that should be arrested are the people that led Iran into this unprecedented spiral of death and destruction, something that should have been dealt with years ago by previous presidents, President Donald J. Trump. And more on this. So yeah, he declared that the Netanyahu would not be arrested in that tweet we just read. He's wanted for war crimes, Netanyahu, committed in Gaza by the ICC, the International Criminal Court. Mamdani said that the Israeli leader belongs in The Hague. So he said this before. Now, this post we just read, this was a response to Mamdani, who said that Netanyahu should be arrested for war crimes, but there were limitations on what he could do as mayor of New York City. It says, I believe that that Prime Minister Netanyahu belongs in The Hague, he said last week. Whatever the law allows me to do in New York City, that's what we will do. But we won't be writing our own laws that end, he added. The U.S. and Israel are not parties to the ICC and are not obligated to comply with the arrest warrant. Additionally, the U.S. has a law that allows the president to use military force to keep Americans or allies from facing justice at The Hague. I didn't know that. That's interesting. It's a little bit more understandable from Mamdani here. Netanyahu and other Israeli officials are wanted for their roles in war crimes committed in Gaza. Israeli forces have killed at least 70,000 Palestinians, as well as destroying most of the infrastructure in the Strip. Despite agreeing to a ceasefire in October, Israel has continued to attack Gaza and expand its control over the Palestinian territory. And over the weekend, there was no exception to that. Friday and Saturday, they killed more than 20 Palestinians as they escalated their strikes. One strike on Friday in Nusrat refugee camp in central Gaza hit Palestinians attending a funeral for people killed in an Israeli attack earlier that day. So just in cartoonish territory, just cartoonishly evil, just literally someone dies in the morning, they have a funeral in the evening, the funeral gets attacked. I think we covered something once before where it was like even like there was an additional like even got even more cartoonish where there's like an additional layer to that, but I don't think they had the same element of the same day. I think there was one that was like day after day. It was like 3 days or something. But either way, and there was like 3 funerals. But either way, ridiculous, completely cartoonish, evil. The attack on the funeral procession killed 8 Palestinians and wounded 19, according to medical officials. The Al Adwa medical complex in Nusra. According to Reuters, the IDF claimed without evidence the strike targeted Palestinian Islamic Jihad and said it was aware of the claims that several uninvolved individuals were harmed as a result of the strike. Regardless of who they're targeting, these are violations of the ceasefire deal. Just a reminder. Other Israeli strikes in Gaza on Friday killed at least 3 Palestinians, bringing the death toll on that day to 12. On Saturday, they continued to pound the strip, killing at least 10 people, including 3 children. I'm sure they were Islamic Jihad too. Attacks on Saturday include the bombing of an apartment building, which killed 5 members of the same family, including the 3 children. So the 3 kids, it wasn't even like there was 2 other people. So even just like it's literally more innocent than guilty. If we just assume based on the fact the other ones were not children that they are guilty, which is what Israel kind of forces you to do if you want to give them any sort of benefit of the doubt. 3 Palestinians were also killed by artillery shelling in Gaza City's Zaytun neighborhood, and 2 Palestinians were killed by other attacks elsewhere in the Strip. Continued on Sunday with Wafa reporting 2 more killed overnight. And then another was killed later in an Israeli bombing of a tent in Khan Yunis. And then we have more since got another day to catch up. We got Monday as well. So on Monday they killed at least 6 Palestinians. So 20. What was that like? I think it was over 26 or something like that. Or I guess that's 26 overall in the past 3 days. So definitely cranking them out. The Palestinian news agency Wafa reported that an Israeli strike on a hospital turned shelter for displaced Palestinians in the Jabalia refugee camp killed at least 2 people and injured 16, mostly children. The report said a woman whose body was torn apart was among the fatalities. Another Israeli strike targeted the Al-Mawasi tent camp in southern Gaza, killing at least 3 Palestinians and injuring several others. According to Wafa, the strike hit a vehicle near the UK Medfield Hospital. Wafa also reported the man succumbed to his wounds sustained in an earlier Israeli attack on Gaza City, bringing Monday's death toll to at least 6. Several others were injured by other Israeli drone attacks and gunfire across the Strip. So this brings us up to 1,158 Palestinians killed since October of 2025 when this so-called ceasefire deal went into effect. So just not looking great. And this is a weird story, another cartoonishly evil one. Apparently, you guys may remember Alligator Alley or Alcatraz or whatever the fuck over here in the States, over here in Florida, which was more or less just like a name. It wasn't even, I don't think there were really even alligators. I don't even know if they were actually even in a swampy area. I think it was just more like, oh, we're in Florida and this is some big federal detention center for migrants. And I think it was more just like a branding thing, the alligator Alcatraz thing. I don't think there were actually any alligators. I mean, there were a lot of reports that it was pretty shitty holding conditions. So like, I'm not at all trying to like take away from that. I heard there were definitely a lot of murmurs. It was pretty or semi-barbaric, perhaps. I mean, I don't know the truth of the matter there. So, but either way, the whole alligator thing was definitely just like oh, that's just for the branding. We're in Florida. It's to make it seem more vicious, more scary for the migrants. You don't want to come here in the U.S. We'll put you in alligator Alcatraz. Well, they're doing it over in Israel, but they're legit fucking actually using, now they're using crocodiles here. They're literally having to like change laws to enable this. So they're stepping up their prison facilities to literally be essentially crocodile moats. It's ridiculous, but this is literally where we are. This is written by Brett Wilkins. Says the Israeli government this week stripped Nile crocodiles of their protected status in order to advance a proposal that National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir said was inspired by the Trump administration's now shuttered alligator Alcatraz to build a prison for Palestinians surrounded by a moat full of the ravenous reptiles. You read that right, the liberal Jewish group J Street said in response to news. When cruelty becomes a governing principle instead of an aberration within the Israeli government, something has gone deeply wrong. Israeli Environmental Minister Idit Silman signed a directive Wednesday reclassifying Nile crocodiles as specially managed wild animals, a novel legal category enabling the government to keep them for security purposes. Ben-Gvir, who heads the Israeli prison service, said he was inspired by the Trump administration's recently closed Alligator Alcatraz Immigration Detention Center in Florida. He is seeking to first introduce crocodiles into a moat around Ketziot prison in southern Israel. While it's not certain that the plan will come to fruition, Ben Gvir celebrated Silman's decree in a social media post showing him petting a crocodile with the caption, "Cursed terrorist thinking of trying to escape, think again." Palestinians have occasionally escaped from Israeli lockups, such as in September 2021, when 6 men used improvised tools, including spoons, to tunnel out of the high-security Gilboa prison. All 6 escapees were caught within weeks. Here's the picture of him with alligator, probably AI, although missed opportunity for something really awesome to happen. The move by Silman, who gained international notoriety for calling for the ethnic cleansing of all Palestinians from the Gaza Strip, came despite objections from her own ministry's legal advisor and the Nature and Parks Authority. IPS, which sent a fact-finding mission to the Hamat Gadar crocodile farm in January, argued that its employees could handle the animals, citing the agency's experience working with the attack dogs that Palestinian prisoners and human rights groups have claimed were used to maul and even sexually abuse detainees, which it's a ridiculous argument that, well, we've handled dogs, so we can handle crocodiles. But either way, obviously there's the subtext of what those dogs have been supposedly used for. Silman's approval is contingent upon IPS meeting animal welfare requirements and appropriate holding conditions. So there's more in this piece, but I mean, that's kind of the gist of it. Just kind of just cartoonishly evil. This is where they've gone to. And let's check in on Lebanon. We got one story from Lebanon and one from Syria before we get out of here. Luckily, Lebanon's been kind of chill, is what it sounds like. Although it looks like it'll probably be more like Gaza going forward. So don't get too comfy, I guess. And then Syria's kind of cranking up just a wee bit. So I've been warning you guys about that here and there. But the biggest thing going on recently in Lebanon, apparently they're setting up new bases, so obviously that is of concern. Since the progress in last week's Rome talks on Israel's withdrawal from Lebanon left the situation without any timetable, as Israel continues to escalate strikes against southern Lebanon, all indications are that they are prepping for an open-ended occupation of the region. Israeli newspapers are now reporting the IDF is establishing another line of permanent military bases inside Lebanon to complement the ones that they were already illegally occupying before March's invasion began. The exact locations are not yet public knowledge, though indications are it is within the Yellow Line region established during this current round of invasion. They also carried out artillery and airstrikes against the area on Saturday, wounding an unknown number of civilians in the region. I haven't seen anything about deaths. Sounds like they're just doing more destruction, just more of the same. But I guess luckily we haven't been seeing as many deaths coming from there. We've got a couple of wounded children over in Syria and some other attacks and more incursions into their sovereignty. So stepping things up over there. Continuing the escalation of Israeli military operations against southwest Syria, the IDF attacked a group of civilians in the village of Jamla, the Dara government, opening fire on the group for seemingly no apparent reason. 2 children were reported wounded in the attack. Neither Syria nor Israel has yet issued a statement on the incident. While Israeli military presence is increasingly common in the Yarmouk River Basin, where Jamla is located, shootings are still comparatively rare, and one would think this would be a significant enough incident to produce some sort of explanation. This is largely the reality for the IDF in Syria, however, where a dozen military operations can be conducted along the frontier without a single IDF statement ever being issued. This has left the increasing escalation in recent weeks largely uncommented upon. In addition to the Jamla shooting, multiple other Israeli operations were reported today in Quneitra Governorate, with troops raiding Al-Razania village and capturing a young man for unknown reasons. The young man was identified as Ammar al-Baridi, and he was reportedly heading to work at the time when he was accosted by the Israeli troops. They detained him when they found out he was from nearby Dara. His fate remains unknown. The 2 other vehicles went to the nearby village of Sadeh al-Hanout and established a temporary checkpoint near the village, questioning locals who were coming or going from there. There were no detentions reported at the checkpoint. All right, that's all I got for foreign policy. Let's roll the chat, check and see what you guys got to say, and then after that, we will get into the Tate Bros arrested. So let's check in on you guys. 1 second, I just got a message from the kiddo. Okay, cool. I just make sure it was nothing important. I can answer that later. But all right, let's roll the chat. Let's check in on you guys. John Black saying he won't be there tonight. Bummer. Daughter getting recognized at the baseball games community night for a job working with retards or something at a learning museum. I love Downies too. Well, that's good. I'm glad to see your daughter's got a good heart. So, hey, it's a bummer you won't be there. Just, but hey, in your pocket, just while your kids are the thing, just kind of turn on the captions, or don't even watch. Just leave it on. Just leave it on. That way, get an extra little number. I'm just messing. You don't gotta do that. Enjoy your night. What else we got? Totep says she saved billions of lives. Yeah. What else we got? Northside says they took one look at Jose, so he's blind and harmless. Let's use him to fix planes. Yeah, what else we got here? Ooh, Sean Newman. Say Daryl Cooper glows, but what is he secret mission? I think you mean like the secret mission. I don't necessarily know if there's like a secret mission. I think whenever you're looking at these sorts of people, I mean, there may just be like, hey, just having it's just the connection, the connection. We don't know if he's part of some secret mission or something, but even just the fact of having these relationships kind of naturally makes you more biased. And I mean, hell, I know, whatever. Don't want to get too off tangent, rambling about the Teal verse and certain characters like that. But yeah, I don't know what his like certain secret mission is particularly. I don't know. What else we got? Hubert says, Jose wants to shame people from joining the military so he can go back and get all the kills. What a psycho. I definitely support this method. I hope he brings me with him. I want some kills too. You know what? Like, unironically, if it was just allowed to be me, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm retarded. I back up now. I guess if it's like just an army full of Jose's, if we get to debate, but then it comes down to like, if the government was just comprised of people that I like, then it's like, well, yeah. But yeah, if I was the one doing all the killing, you know what? Everything would be a lot better when I say that, but I just evolve into insanity, and then I'm just killing. I know, I'm just doing the most fucked up shit. But like, it works out in the end, I tell you. All right, what else we got? It's all for the greater good. So, but yeah, no. What else we got? All right, we're all caught up. All right. Tilla says, step 1, round up pedos in a cage with a crocodile. Step 2, ? Step 3, profit. I guess lingering on the crocodile alligator prison dilemma. Yeah, if we just wanted to have like the pedophile like wings, if you want to surround them by crocodiles or alligators, I don't really care. I mean, it's kind of like honestly seems like a waste of money. And like, what does it really make a difference? I guess I feel like there's probably better security measures you can put in place than the alligator moat, but it is fun. I'll give them that. It's interesting. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into the arrest of Tristan Tate. Got Kubert one last second. Says still ugly though, and sliding in the last second there. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump in. Tate got arrested over was it the weekend actually? I was about to say over the weekend. I'm not entirely sure if it was over the weekend. What's the date on this? It's the 18th. Is when I was tagged, so I guess it was either Friday or Saturday. So yeah, I think it was technically over the weekend. I think it was Saturday, but either way, recently got arrested. Here is the clip of it. A lot of people. Oh, dang it! Give me 1 second. Of course, StreamYard's doing its thing, but a lot of people have analyzed the absolute shit of this video. Everyone's saying, "Oh, this is AI. This is that." There's like this, looks like there's some sort of tricky pass off of some sort from Tristan to one of his people, or not Tristan, Andrew, one of his people. And a lot of people are like, oh, what's on that phone? I don't know, all that's gay, but whatever. Here is the thing. Also, a lot of the like, oh, is it AI? Is this? A lot of this stuff's already been confirmed. So like, people initially were already being like, this thing's AI, this thing's that, and I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe things are AI. Everything's AI. We're in a post-reality world. I have no idea. But I think this is probably real. We have confirmations from law enforcement and other stuff. We have a couple articles to read, but I did just want to throw it out there that like even right off the jump of this, people were immediately analyzing the video and be like, oh, look at this. This is fake or whatever. I don't know. Maybe someone ran through an AI filter. Maybe it's all fake. I have no fucking idea. But either way, here is him getting arrested.
Cool. Guys, back on.
All right, I don't think there's really much more to see there. Let's check in on his arrest. Here's a piece from TMZ. Let's get the details there. Arrested in Miami. Andrew and Tristan Tate have been arrested in Miami just before Andrew was set to co-host a bare knuckle boxing event. The Tates were taken into... God dang it, it's doing this stupid ad thing. I'm telling you, I'll figure out the ad blocker in these days. The Tates were taken into custody... Tates were taken into custody Saturday afternoon outside the James L. Knight Center, an event space in the downtown area of the South Florida city where IBA Bare Knuckle 6 is set to go down. So we obtained photos and video of Andrew and Tristan being arrested, which show the two brothers after the cuffs have been slapped on them. The number of law enforcement tells the assembled crowd to back up as agents check behind their ears before loading them into the back of several cars. Law enforcement sources confirmed the U.S. Marshal Service carried out the arrest. The charges are not known at this time. The pair of brothers have had legal trouble for years, including spending several months in Romanian prison in early 2023. They were indicted on sex trafficking charges in the Eastern European country. Andrew and Tristan returned to the United States in early 2025, insisting they were innocent shortly after the plane landed in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Okay, one second. It just did the jump thing again. Give me a second. In early April of that year, an attorney involved in a civil suit with the brothers told us they were in the crosshairs of a federal investigation. The brothers are also facing legal issues in the UK, where 21 charges have been authorized against them, 11 for Andrew and 10 for Tristan. It's unclear if this arrest has anything to do with that case. We have more for you in a second. This is just on the arrest. We've reached out to the Tate's attorney so far, no word back. So that was from TMZ. Now we have more of an update on the specifics here as opposed to just, the initial arrest. That was all the information they had at that time. So here we go. This is over at Sky News. So Andrew and Tristan have been arrested in the U.S. on an extradition request from the U.K. So that's what it did here at the U.K. Despite the fact he's racking up criminal charges all around the world, it was the U.K. one that did it here after prosecutors said they were bringing further charges against them. The controversial social media influencers were taken into custody in Miami on Saturday on a sealed warrant, the U.S. Marshals Service said. UK Crown Prosecution Service, CPS, said it would bring more charges against the brothers after identified 4 additional alleged victims. Andrew, 39, is charged with 7 further counts of rape, 3 counts of arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation. Now back up real quick. I know in the previous article, they said the 10 charges or something like that from the UK. I believe these are additional from the ones previous. So a lot of people were surmising initially that perhaps this has something to do with his charges from over there because I think as they explained, they may even have just said it a minute ago, I think they've already kind of handled the Romania stuff. So and it's sort of ongoing. They're still dealing with legal, but they're no longer have to be in jail or something. I forget the specifics. There's a lot of different charges, a lot of moving pieces. But that had already been dealt with, whereas the UK one, maybe people thought that was maybe still more oh, something going on there. Well, yes, it is something going on there. We've had additional charges. So now we got the UK in the mix here. So we've had him have issues with Romania, UK, sort of the US, although I think the US ones were in connection to, I believe, the Romania stuff. So anyway, so now he's got, like I said, 7 further counts of rape for Andrew, 3 counts of arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation, 3 counts of assault occasioning actual bodily harm, and 19 additional charges for offenses relating to indecent images of a child and extreme pornography. So he's literally CP. He's getting hit for CP, as well he should. We covered recently... I forget the name. It was Empire of Lie. No, that can't be right. What was the name of the art? There was some article. I can't remember who wrote it. Was it Forbes? I don't know. Maybe I can look it up here in a minute. I did a few parts. What did we call it? I forgot what we called that segment for those who want to dig into it, or you can just find the piece. anyways, there was one of their first cam models that I think they've even admitted and talked about openly and yada yada. It was like, I think like 15 or 16 or I think 15. I think it was like 15 when she started, which is key because as gross as it is, many states around the world have like, different, ages of consent and yada yada. So I think like the 15 thing, I think it was like 16 was in the clear wherever he was legally, obviously crazy fucking awful, but like, anyways, I think that, so anyways, one of his first, one of his first broads or whatever, I think was like 15 when this all started. So, which was in that piece that we covered. Now, Tristan, 38, is charged with 1 count of sexual assault, 2 counts of rape, and 3 counts of arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation. CPS said the 38 additional charges, in addition to 21 existing charges, relate to alleged offenses between July 2010 and August 2017. The previous charges were connected to 3 other alleged victims and relate to allegations said to have taken place from 2012 to 2016. So there were 3 victims before that was those charges we were talking about that first article. And so now these are how many more? Let me see. I thought I might say how many more victims because I thought I read 4 more additional. So there's 4 more victims now. So there were 3 before, and now there's 4 additional, 7 total from the UK. And I got to be real. I mean, I don't know. I'm open to being there's some, it's a lot. I mean, you never know when it comes to these specific sort of, like when it comes to like charges of rape, like who knows? Like these broads could all be lying, but I got to be real. I kind of tend to believe them, judging from what I've seen, what they've openly said. I mean, we've covered extensively this show. I know a lot of people want to give them outs and just be like, oh, they're just kind of being like chauvinistic or whatever, which like, I don't really necessarily have a problem being chauvinistic, but this is a whole other level. Like we're talking like assault, like sexual and physical. So this is a whole other level. These are crimes that we're talking about here. So like, it's one thing if you want to be a chauvinist, you want to look down on women or whatever. And I mean, depending on how you define chauvinism, I may or may not even agree with you, perhaps, depending on whatever you're talking about. But this is a whole other level. We're talking about crimes here. And their whole thing is like about being pimps and openly talking about pimping and stuff like this. And I get it. It is a blurry line when it comes to these sort of things. You can be like, oh, these women love me. And that's why they do all these things. Like, okay, are you really telling me you've somehow never really engaged in any criminal behavior as you've gotten these women to love you, knowing the sort of methods that are being used here? And then furthermore, even then these women that you have then gotten to do these sort of things, I know they'd say they're webcammers and stuff, and you're like, yeah, but what else are they doing? And who are they doing it for? And so then it makes you wonder what the fuck is going on here. And these sort of statements, it kind of makes you think about with a whole lot more sort of scrutiny. Here is Andrew Tate, after coming out, recently, essentially, coming out of his first court appearance, where the judge has ordered that the brothers will remain in U.S. custody as they continue to fight extradition. So it looks like they're going to just stay in the U.S. for now, but they're just fighting extradition currently, is what it sounds like. So yeah, they did get arrested. Sounds like they're dealing with whatever they got to deal with. They may end up getting kicked the fuck out, but for now, they're here in the U.S. But here is Andrew Tate right after he comes out of court.
And I'm very close to the Trump family. I know them well, and I spoke to Barron after the incident, and I look forward to, once I am free, being with Donald Trump in person and reminding him that he's a bulletproof badass. And I'm very close to the Trump family. I know them well. So
there you go, him already bragging about his connection to the Trump family. So he's already talked to Barron, which these are. Now, I did see elsewhere, I think it was on CBS, where they were saying that, we're getting reports from the Trump administration. They intend on having nothing to do with this and yada, yada. But even still, these are the sort of things that, especially knowing the Trump administration, the level of corruption they have engaged in flagrantly, it is kind of like, I really wouldn't put it past them. So, I don't know, we'll see. I'm interested to see where this goes, if they'll somehow get off the hook once again. Wouldn't be the least bit surprised if that is the case. With that, that's all for that segment. And let's roll to the chat, say some more good mornings, say some more hellos, and then we will get into our last segment of the day, the secret history of Polymarket, which is basically just a Whitney Webb piece. We're going to be digging through one I've been meaning to go through for a while, some Peter Thiel connections, and I don't think you guys will be disappointed if you're a parapolitics nerd quite like I am. So, but with that, let's roll the chat one more time. Let's check in on you people. Oh. You guys are talking about killing pedophiles in chat. That's always good. You guys are trying to figure out the logistics of how to get crocodiles to get them. You got Tilly saying, so digging a hole for the pedos is much cheaper. Crocodiles are basically free in Florida if you're fast enough. Alligators are free in Florida if you're fast enough, not the crocs. But yeah, they're saying also just drop them in the Everglades. So they're all just figuring out ways to get pedos and crocodiles or alligators to become, familiarized with each other. So this is why I love you guys. What else we got? Fire Pixie. Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't even talk about the Andrew Tate. Like everyone was roasting him for his outfit. Let's see if I want to look that up real quick, just for funsies. Let's look up let's look up Andrew Tate's outfit. Which I'm not gonna lie. There's been once or twice I've looked there. There's like 3/4. It's the big crime here is those like 3/4 like pants that he has on. Let me see if I can find the. I gotta look up Andrew Tate arrest, I guess. I gotta find the outfit so you guys can see it again. Because everyone was roasting it, saying he looked like an old lesbian. I mean, if you were paying attention, you know. Okay, here's exactly the one I was looking for. Let me see. Let me bring it up. Here you go. Here you go. Here's the one. Here's him. Like it's like I forget what the meme was, but it's like a lot of people being like, "There's all different captions I've seen with this." So this like side by side here of this lady and Tristan's outfit. Now the real crime that I was getting at here is the pants. He does the 3/4 pants. If it had just been the button up purple long sleeve, even and I'll admit the as far as he undoes the button is kind of gay, but like whatever. I think the one that really overdoes it is the shoes with no socks, with those like dress shoes, and then adding on those like 3/4 like sort of slacks or whatever these things are. Which I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what it is about those 3/4 pants. I think it's just maybe it's because I'm short and stocky, so I've always had an issue with pants where like they're always way too fucking long and they're way too tight. Like that's because I'm a thick boy. I'm like 5'5". I hover between like the thickest I've ever been, and even when I was really muscular, it was like 220. I got up to like 220 once. I was squatting like over 6'6", like over what was I squatting? Like 625? I almost said 6. No, was I over? I was over 6. Either way, I struggled getting up the stairs, but like I was, strong as shit. Point being, it's the sort of figure I have. It's ridiculous. Trying to get pants. This is why you always see me in. I don't like sleeves. I'm always in fucking basketball shorts. It's partially my figure. Nothing fits quite right. So anyway, I think that might be I've always these sort of pants. I don't know what it is. I just see those and I go, I want them. I don't know what. I know they're maybe this is the homo deep down inside me. I don't know, but like I really think it's just like I bet you those would fit me perfectly. But that's different though, because like it wouldn't even be a 3/4. Those would just be normal pants on me basically. So I don't know. I just always something about it. I just want to pull them off. I just feel like they could. But no, dudes, we still haven't gone there. Dudes haven't cleared. We haven't broken through that glass ceiling. We still can't do 3/4 pants unless you're living in like the 1900s or some shit like that. Maybe if once we bring back the hard R, maybe we'll bring back 3/4 pants too. Maybe that's the connection here because when we had them in the past, we also had hard R. So I don't know. We'll see. But either way, that is what he was wearing. He looked absolutely ridiculous. It looked quite goofy. But hey, well, I didn't even have it up this whole time. Here you go. Here's the picture. I was doing this whole describing thing. I didn't realize I didn't even have it up. So here you go. Here is the side by side between the old lady and him. So. All right, whatever. Let's get back in the chat. Let's check in. Let's see what else you guys got to say. What else we got? For fuck's sake, put your browser in reader. Is that a thing? Wait, there's a reader mode? No way. I'm going to have you show. This is why you should have been here tonight. Next, already dead. When you're hanging out in the pre-show or post-show, John, show me how to. I didn't even know that's a thing. I didn't know there's a reader mode. I know incognito mode, but that's about it. That's the extent of my node knowledge on browsers. But if there's a reader mode, I need to figure that out for sure. What else we got? Good morning, user. Says they were Candace's husband's crew, the pimp for the frat boys. Yep, exactly. She has done a whole lot of PR for him, big time. WC Cola says I just came fresh off a croc vid, so we're in reptile sync. Hey, makes sense. We're going to take it a step further. We're going to be talking about the reptile, Peter Thiel, here in a moment. What else we got? Short pants are gayer than 5 guys, fucking 4 guys. I say this is a 6'3" dude, says Tom 3'3", yeah. Tom says shirt unbuttoned can be gay or Mediterranean. There's a very little difference. Yeah, you're right. Bug fights expecting a flood. Yeah, that's another thing too. Like pants, you got any sort of like wetness, and as a short guy with my pants always stepping on my, or I gotta do the gay little roll up thing. The roll up thing does not look good. It always looks like shit. But yeah, it is if you're dealing with puddles or anything, like I don't have to worry about that anymore. All right, Scott. Good morning. 600 legs like kefs. I don't know what a kef is. Maybe kefs. I don't know, but yeah, I had big legs. I was doing back in that day. I was doing the full quad extension machine for like sets of like 10, and I got to the point where I was taking the quad extension machine. Those little like weights you put on top of it. I got to the point where I put every single weight I could find on top of it, and I couldn't put any more, or else it would fuck with the range of motion. And I remember as I was doing it, the machine would be like ba-ding, 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 going back and forth. So I miss those days. Although it is nice going upstairs and not feeling like I'm gonna fucking die. So. I was strong as shit, but I was not. I was not what they would say as healthy. Good morning, Tower Gang NPC. Good morning. All right, guys, let's get into the last story of the day. Let's get into the secret history of Polymarket. So Tom33 says roll-up pants look like shit, but does not look gay. It's a utility look. Yeah, they don't look gay, but they feel childish. That's what it is. I feel maybe it's just me being self-conscious because it was all growing up. It was like everything. I remember my mom would be like, come here, Joshy. And I have to be like, she'd get down on it, she'd kind of roll up my little pants, be like, oh, go after school. So it's like a little kid's thing. I don't know, rolling up the pants. Like it's like, I don't know, it's like high, it's like yanked up white long socks for me. It's the same vibe. Like it reminds me of my childhood, and it feels gay. I don't know, it feels childish rolling up my pants. So I just wear shorts like a real fucking man. All right, whatever. All right, let's stop talking about 3/4 pants. Let's get into the latest. Let's go ahead and read through this piece from Whitney Webb. I'll give you a little bit of I'll read her caption she gave on it. I guess like a little bit of a tease into it. Who knows? You never know. Maybe you're like, I don't know. Do I want to stick around for this Polymarket piece? Do I not? Well, here's your chance right here. Here's your little trailer of sorts. If this sounds lame to you, you can just bounce. Just hit the like button on the way out, please. This is Whitney Webb says, we've been quiet recently because Mark Goodwin and I have been working to write the most comprehensive investigation into Polymarket's origins and ambitions to date. We found that Polymarket's official origin story, that Shane Copland founded the company alone in 2020 and then built the company in his bathroom, is a lie. Polymarket really started years earlier as another company called Tokenbrink that was deeply tied to Israeli interests, specifically a crypto company founded by Benjamin Netanyahu's niece and nephew. Copland was actively trying to obfuscate his company from his story. It's not the only thing either. Part 1 of his 2-part series, we unravel the real history of Polymarket, directly connecting the company to Peter Thiel's efforts to resurrect controversial DARPA programs from its now defunct Information Awareness Office. Which, if I recall correctly, I think that's like the same place Facebook came from, but I might be wrong. Polymarket appears to have been chosen by Thiel and his associates to succeed in resurrecting DARPA's policy analysis market, where another Thiel-leaked company, Augur, had previously failed. Augur. I wonder if I'm going to look that up real quick. Sorry, not to get off. This is what this show is for, though. I was trying to think if there's some reference there, because all of this shit is like usually Tolkien references, and that one I didn't get. Now, real quick, an augur is a priest or official in the classical Roman world. His main role was the practice of augury, the interpretation of the will of the gods by studying events he observed with a predetermined sacred space. Well, all right, it's not quite a Tolkien reference, but it's also just as ominous, so that's creepy. So yeah, this is an augur is a priest who interprets the will of the gods by studying events within a predetermined sacred space. So I guess maybe sounds like similar to sort of kind of like astrology or something like that is what it sounds like to me. But anyways, back to this. Okay, so that was the name of the Thiel company, was Augur. Now, so stay tuned for part 2, where we explore the current influence of prediction markets and Polymarket, including how an insidious effort to have prediction markets replace representative democracy as a governance model is already being slowly implemented by the White House. Read part 1 here. So we're going to read part 1. Not sure if we'll get through all of it. We'll probably, take like 15 minutes. We'll probably read for like 15 minutes or so, see where we're at. Maybe if you guys are really feeling it, maybe we'll make it some multi-parter read that we do at like the end of episodes or something like we've done in the past. or we'll just kill it here, kind of much like we did with the Tate's piece a while ago, which was really, really long. We ended up doing, I don't know how many pieces. We got to almost around double digits, and then we bailed on it near the end. But either way, plenty in there that makes our previous segment seem all the more, I think those motherfuckers probably did it. I think they're out there raping broads, and they're probably using their degenerate influence to manipulate things behind the scenes in unseen ways. So anyways, besides that, let's get into the secret history of Polymarket, part 1, and part 1 of part 1. So if like I said, we'll see. We'll dig into this. We'll see where we're at, and we may do more of these. So sound off in the chat as we go through this. If you're interested, you want to hear more. Obviously, you can always just go read this on your own, but I know this is handy dandy for some people. I don't know how you listen to this. Maybe you're at work doing whatever. I know I try to get something out of it. I don't have time to sit here and read articles by myself. If I'm not doing this, this is sort of like I make some money, do some, I build my whatever, kind of build the podcast of this. If it was, I'd just be doing other shit. I'd be building, I'd be working, taking care of cats, working on this house project, that house project. So I don't have time to be sitting and reading articles all the time. I know you guys don't either. So I'm sure many of you guys like to sit here and listen to me read you articles. So I don't need to tell you can go read this on your own, but if you want to, it's available over at unlimitedhangout.com. This is a secret history of Polymarket part 1. With that, that's enough of that. Let's dig into it. Shane Copeland, now the world's youngest self-made billionaire, is the public face of what purports to be the world's largest crypto-powered prediction market, Polymarket. Copeland and his alleged arch rival, Tariq Mansour, of the competing prediction market platform Kalshi, recently buried the hatchet to create a new venture capital firm called 5C Capital, a reference to the section of the Commodity Exchange Act which is currently used to regulate prediction markets. The fund is aimed at bulking up the infrastructure for what has rapidly become an insurgent data industry. Since the early days of Donald Trump's second term, prediction markets like Polymarket and Kalshi have largely been told to police themselves. This comes courtesy of the current head of the CFTC, Michael Selig, who was previously a lawyer representing major cryptocurrency industry clients. Selig became the CFTC chair only after the Trump administration rescinded the nomination of Brian Quintenz, who then sat on Kalshi's board and worked for the crypto venture team at Mark Andreessen's firm Andreessen Horowitz. Andreessen Horowitz has notably backed Kalshi's new prediction market VC firm 5C Capital and is also heavily invested in Kalshi. Now to back up, this is me, obviously not Whitney Webb now. I did want to take a moment to point out Mark Andreessen. I forget his specific role, but he's technically part of the current Trump administration. He's like their AI czar or something like. I forget what the exact title is that they gave him, but he is actually part of the administration, which has made he's one of the the achievements I guess you can give him he's the first member of I think a presidential administration. Maybe I'm not quite getting the specific achievement here correctly, but essentially he was the first presidential member of a presidential administration, I think, or at least as of recently, in the past few decades at the very least, who has admitted that Israel may have nukes or even has nukes. I forget what he said. He said a while back, he was concerned that they could end up, going nuclear, and essentially basically saying the quiet part out loud that, they have nukes and they could use them, which is kind of a interesting move that he's the one that broke that ground. But here he is again, just to kind of make you understand who this guy is. Very connected in this Tealverse and all these characters. During the past couple of years, Polymarket and Kalshi have become important components of reporting on global finance and politics. This is partially due to their extensive cultivation of wide-ranging media partnerships. For instance, in the case of Polymarket, the company now boasts partnerships with the Wall Street Journal and its parent company, Dow Jones, as well as Yahoo Finance, Substack, and the live streaming platform Party. While these partnerships have been framed as an effort to further legitimize prediction markets, concerns have been raised that these media partnerships could be used to intentionally manipulate these very markets via the implantation of false and misleading stories. Just realized once again I did not have the thing up. Concerns like these have dogged these new prediction markets just as their star has risen. Insider trading allegations, including from the platforms themselves, have shown how prediction markets can be abused by traders with insider access to market movers and policy makers. Now with Congress trying to get involved, both Polymarket and Kalshi have announced new efforts to improve market integrity without the need for government intervention. However, the effects of their efforts remain to be seen, as several of the new measures are based on traders self-reporting their conflicts of interest. Concerns about widespread insider trading have only been exacerbated by both the White House's open dismissal of those concerns, as well as the Trump family's close ties to both Polymarket and Kalshi. For instance, Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., is both a strategic advisor to Kalshi and also advises Polymarket. So he advises both. Trump Jr. is also a major investor in Polymarket via his venture capital firm, 1789 Capital. The evidence of insider trading on these platforms, particularly in cases where it is directly related to Trump's most consequential decisions, is now widely acknowledged by mainstream media. While the ascendance and arguably the normalization of insider trading are being treated as unintended flukes of these markets, there's an argumentation to be made that they are operating just as intended. Some of the evidence for that argument can be found in what appears to be Polymarket's true origins. Despite being nominally founded in 2020, Kaplan, in founding his company, was admittedly following the model of the big tech billionaires he admired as a teen, particularly those who created their flagship companies by rebranding and privatizing controversial military programs from the George W. Bush era for maximum profit and seemingly to advance even darker ambitions. Previous reports from Unlimited Hangout have explored how Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook gave new life to the Pentagon's LifeLog program the day it was shut down, and how Peter Thiel's Palantir was created as a privatized version of the Pentagon's surveillance dragnet program, Total Information Awareness. A lot creepier name than Palantir. But, unless you're like a Tolkien nerd like myself, and that's also just as creepy, but that one's a little bit more on the nose. In this two-part series, we now examine how Shane Kaplan appears to have rebranded and privatized yet another failed Pentagon program from that same era. So he says yet another. Okay, yeah, they already in the next paragraph. I can already see Zuckerberg. So for those who aren't aware, Facebook and a lot of stuff came out of, I believe, these basically same exact sort of programs. So same old plays. By following in the footsteps of his admitted idol, Zuckerberg, and backed by funding from Thiel-linked sources, Kaplan has managed to resurrect the policy analysis market, one of the most controversial Pentagon programs, from its now defunct Information Awareness Office. Tellingly, his efforts to launch Polymarket included direct communication with one of the main architects of the PAM program, and he was also greatly influenced by another Thiel-linked effort to resurrect PAM that failed. Importantly, Kaplan's apparent rebrand of PAM, often referred to in the past as the terrorism futures market, is about more than just reaping mega profits in an era where insider trading and financial corruption are flourishing with the White House's blessing. As will be explored in part 2 of this series, an ulterior motive directly linked to Kaplan's efforts aims to advance an extremely dystopian governance model that is of great interest to the big tech billionaires now closely linked to Kaplan and the dominant prediction market companies such as Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen. Here's a little of a brief history of American prediction markets. The story of prediction markets began in the late 1980s when a handful of professors teaching at the University of Iowa created what they initially called the Iowa political stock market. As part of their market experiment, university staff and students were recruited to trade contracts in the 1988 U.S. presidential election between George H.W. Bush and Democratic challenger Michael Dukakis. It quickly became a popular phenomenon in the finance and accounting departments of the University of Iowa and later expanded far beyond its halls. Under the name of the Iowa Electronics Market, or IEM, it soon became open to anyone who wanted to open an account, so long as they completed a one-page application and sent the market operators a check in the mail. By the time the next presidential election took place in 1992, the IEM had received an exemption from the Community Futures Trading Commission, allowing it to operate without regulation so long as it was run for solely academic and experimental purposes. Did not use outside advertising, and individual traders were prohibited from investing more than $500. The premise of the experiment that later became the IEM was that while voters have no incentive to be honest with pollsters, they would respond to information differently if their own money was on the line. There's a strong incentive for players in these political markets to process information about the candidates, and their conclusions are revealed to us through the market's prices. The Wall Street Journal quoted Steve Feinstein, then an assistant professor of finance at Boston University School of Management, as saying, the Wall Street Journal, writing on the IEM in 95, also noted that one of the ways in which the IEM was particularly useful was because shareholders can react quickly to developments. The article also quotes Cheryl Ball, formerly an assistant professor of economics at Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University, as saying, by watching the political stock market, it's possible to gauge the effect of an ad, a policy announcement, or alleged affair on the part of a candidate almost instantaneously. The idea of using prediction markets as an important indicator of how the public will react to a given piece of information would later serve as a foundational concept for futurarchy, to be discussed in detail in part 2, which proposes using prediction markets as a new system of public governance. So we've gone past technocracy and now we are in futurarchy. After the popularity of the IEM, another iteration of the prediction markets was launched in 94 by Mark James, Sean Morgan, and Robin Hanson. Robin Hanson was a researcher into artificial intelligence, Bayesian statistics, and other topics for military contractor Lockheed, as well as NASA in the late 1980s and early 1990s. Is also credited with creating the concept of idea futures after being inspired by IEM's success. Per Hansen, idea futures would see the harnessing of market principles to predict a wide range of political, social, and technological outcomes. Hansen also claimed to have led the development of the first internal corporate prediction market in 1990 for Xanadu Incorporated. Despite what he lists on his CV, isn't Xanadu something weird? Let me look that up real quick. I swear Xanadu, not to get off. What is Xanadu? I guess it's a movie? It's a film starring Olivia Newton-John, Gene Kelly, and Michael Beck. This tells the story of a struggling artist who falls in love. Okay. Oh, it's also Xanadu is also summer capital of Kublai Khan Yuan's dynasty in China. So I guess it was also, for some reason I thought there's something else there. But anyway, sorry, not to get off tangent there. I was just wondering what the hell Xanadu is. All right, back to this. Despite what you listen to CV, it appears that Hansen did a significant amount of his work for NASA, not as a direct employee, but rather as a contractor via the private company Sterling Software. Hansen does not publicly list his past employment with Sterling on his CV, but his publications from this period reveal his status as a Sterling employee while it contracted for NASA. Sterling Software was largely run by Dallas-based billionaires Sam Wiley and his brother Charles. The Wiley brothers were closely associated with the political fortunes of George W. Bush, counting among his largest political donors from his gubernatorial campaigns into his presidential runs. The Wileys obtained the NASA contracts on which Hansen worked, though through Sterling's controversial acquisition of Informatics General Corporation in 1985. Sterling's de facto hostile takeover of Informatics was made possible by the criminal bank Drexel Burnham Lambert, which was closely tied to the savings and loans crisis of that era, criminal activities tied to both intelligence agencies and the Bush family. Notably, during the Drexel-backed efforts of the Wileys to seize control of Informatics, Charles Hurwitz, the mob-adjacent corporate raider with significant ties to the most notorious actors of the saving and loans crisis, took a 13.3% stake in the company to facilitate Sterling's software takeover. While Hansen was merely employed by Sterling a few years after the Informatics takeover, it is worth noting they would later help the Pentagon design what is arguably the most controversial prediction market of all time during George Bush's presidency, George W. Bush, and would also later greatly influence Elon Musk, the brother of Sam Wiley's son-in-law, Kimball Musk. Which Kimball Musk is the one who was getting hooers from Epstein, if for those who recall that. The Musk-Hansen relationship is discussed in part 2 of this series. After leaving for a time government contract work, Hansen created the Foresight Exchange in 94. Foresight had been described as the world's first web-based betting market, but managed to evade U.S. regulatory scrutiny for using play money called credit bills that could be exchanged for prizes. Hanson's co-founders of Foresight Exchange, Mark James and Sean Morgan, were employees of the Canadian government-funded Alberta Research Council, now known as Alberta Innovates. James and Morgan became interested in Hanson's 92 paper that outlined the concept of idea futures and decided to make Hanson's idea a reality. Hanson had written a paper as a visiting researcher for the Foresight Institute, which was founded in 1986 to promote the development of nanotechnology, artificial general intelligence, and longevity research. These interests would bring the Foresight Institute close to the philanthropic interests of tech billionaire Peter Thiel by the early 2000s, and the Institute has since been credited with spurring Thiel's early interest in investing in AI companies. Well, the IEM was focused largely on electoral campaigns. Hanson's Foresight Exchange was seemingly the first iteration of the modern prediction market, whereby the outcome of any query could be bet upon. For instance, archives of Foresight's old website show that it dealt with not only US and UK politics, but also religion and New Age phenomenon, scientific inquiries with medicine, space, physics, and the future of computing, and issues dealing with arts and entertainment such as television and movies. Movies were incidentally the focus of the world's next prediction market. The Hollywood Stock Exchange, founded in 96, HSX was described by the New York Times as a virtual stock market of fake stocks and fake money with such a fanatic following that players are offering hundreds of real dollars to buy a make-believe portfolio. It was created by two men who were, at that point, best known as veterans of Wall Street, but have since become better known for other pursuits. For instance, HSX co-founder Max Kaiser went on to become best known for his early and often eccentric evangelism of Bitcoin, while the other co-founder, Michael Burns, is now best known for his top role at Lionsgate Films. 2001, the HSX, along with critically important patents, was acquired by Cantor Fitzgerald, the American financial services firm long helmed by the current Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Lutnick and Cantor had planned to do away with HSX's play money and lead to push to turn speculation on movie performance into real money via commodity futures contracts. In other words, they sought to pioneer a film futures market. Kind of funny, in that same year, something else very significant happened to Cantor Fitzgerald. That was the company that was in the one of the towers, I forget which one. And that just happens to be the day that Howard Lutnick, for one of the only times, I think he said it was like the only time he took his kid to school for the morning. He went out of his way to individually take his kid to school. I'm sure usually just has a driver or somebody take him. But that day he goes, I'm going to take my kid to school. And just happened to be okay the day that the towers hit. So also the guy who lives right next to Epstein, or used to. Paul G. Anderson explained the concept of Cantor's proposed film futures market as follows. Unlike the various physical commodities that trade on futures exchanges, such as corn, oil, and wheat, the relevant commodity in a film futures contract is an intangible financial instrument, DBOR, whose final value is tied directly to domestic box office revenue from ticket sales to the underlying motion picture. Thus, any film futures contract is an agreement to buy or sell DBORs at an agreed-upon price, regardless of the market value at the time that cash settlement is due. In this respect, film futures are akin to futures contracts or for stock indexes, United States Treasury bonds, and other non-traditional commodities that are commonplace on most future exchanges. Cantor's initial push for the film futures market was closely related to the efforts of the Republican-led Congress to pass the Commodity Futures Modernization Act in 2001, a law which facilitated, among other things, the exotic trading instruments and other that later played a significant role in the 2008 economic crisis. Roughly 4 months after acquiring HSX, Cantor Fitzgerald's main location in New York City was obliterated during the 9/11 attacks, with Lutnick being among the small handful of survivors that happened to be out of office when the towers were struck. As a result of the massive loss of employees and company assets, Lutnick's efforts to merge play money prediction markets with future trading were delayed until roughly 2007, when he and Cantor began to revive their prior efforts to pursue film futures. Lutnick hired Rich Jacobs, a derivative specialist, and together they mounted a congressional charm offensive. By 2010, they had managed to get approval from the CFTC. However, due to congressional opposition related to 2008 economic crisis and also from the Motion Picture Association of America, their efforts were for naught. The negative mood, both in Congress and beyond, saw a clause added to the Dodd-Frank Act that saw the domestic trading of film futures explicitly banned. Whilst efforts to legalize real money prediction markets alongside Howard Lutnick may have failed, Rich Jacobs has since become the head of market expansion for Shane Copland's Polymarket. All right, that's where we're going to stop for today. Maybe tomorrow, or maybe we can bring this back up. Sound off in the chat if it's something that interests you. I know it is a lot of different acronyms, and this person, that person seems kind of, but this is important stuff. A lot of financial terms, so it sounds kind of, I don't know, kind of like what the fuck are we talking about here? But a lot of stuff that's kind of hard to process, but I do think it's important. I think it plays a big part in our current world. And when we do come back, and this will be digging into DARPA discovering prediction markets. What else we got? Trying to see how much is left. Privatizing the Information Awareness Office. Trying to see how many segments or pieces. And then enter Shane Copland. Trying to see how much is left of this. So, I don't know, we probably got like 2 more parts in this at least. I don't know, maybe 3. So, let me know how you feel about this, how much more you want to keep going down this rabbit hole. There is quite a bit to go here. Obviously, you can go read this on your own if you like it, but if you want more of a dig into this, just gave you a little bit of a history up until the mid-2000s of essentially, what did I say? Essentially, American prediction markets, essentially what we're talking about here, Polymarket, Kalshi, these sort of things. Digging more into the spookiness in the next time, unless you guys really fucking hated this. So with that, let's roll the chat, say some more good mornings, and then we'll go ahead and get out of here. Yeah. And then I do have an outro for you guys. We talk a little bit about I have a fun outro for you guys. I have a few different things for you guys for the outro for today. I think you'll like it. With that, let's check in on you guys. See what you guys got to say. Legs like kegs was Scott said. The typo there. Good morning, Cameron Eel saying stay fly. Hell yeah. Dylan Fardum says I tried to buy a threesome on Polymarket and was very disappointed. Good morning, Murder Death Kill. One of my favorite names to see on here. It's fun to say. John Black, Mark Andreessen's firm, is also the primary backer of Flock and adjacent companies. Yeah, bingo. There you go. Good morning, Free Ali. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Matza Ball says damn near all digital enterprises like Facebook, LifeLog, and Polymarket are DARPA developed horse shit handed off to Jews. Yeah, you're not wrong. Good morning, JC. It says Future Market says wild. Jamie, bring that up on Perplexity. It does sound wild. Dylan says more like Xana don't. Yeah, that's a fun one. Matzabal is pointing out the whole built in a garage by a college dropout narrative is bullshit. 9/11 times, 100%. That's all just DARPA shit. And he built that he built that in the desert. But what's the line from Iron Man? It's like Tony Stark built that in a desert. Whatever. You get the meme. JC says, I remember Robin Hanson being pushed a lot in libertarian online circles 10 to 25 years ago. Same thing with Peter Thiel, the C Setting Institute Incorporated. I can't say I'm actually super familiar with his name, but I'll take your word for it. So they use the idealistic naivete of libertarians as well as their blind spot for corporations against them. Bingo, 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 bingo. Everyone's, he's just a big old businessman. And just forget the fact that it's but where did he get all his money? The government. And this motherfucker, is still a contractor. He's still basically the government. JC said, 2020 made me realize it's not just the government. Corporations are a part of the overall system. They're both just 2 tentacles of the octopus as a whole. Bingo. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get out of here. For those who like what I'm doing, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can find the show on YouTube, Rumble, all the major audio podcatchers, and Twitter as well. On Twitter, that's at Tower Gang Jose. Everywhere else, it's the No Way Jose podcast. And if you want to support the show the best way you can do that with money over at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. Top left-hand corner here, we got a QR code you can use to bring you the same exact place. Over there, you got a whole host of perks at the low level of $2. Give you guys access to early episodes. I keep about 1 to 2 of those behind the paywall at any given, or I keep 1 to 2 of those. I do about 1 to 2 of those per week, any given time, typically. and I keep typically around 3 to 4 behind the paywall at any given time. We have finally gotten back to equilibrium. We are keeping it at 4. We were up to like over 6 at one point, I think. But we have now finally purged some of the paywalled episodes and evened it out. Also give you guys access to our ad-free RSS feed, give you guys access to Telegram, the pre-show, the post-show, and video calls on me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, Already Dead, which is tonight at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So call in, hang out. If you're a patron, jump in on the video chat. Second half of the show is basically completely dedicated to hanging out with you guys. Also give a big shout out to the highest level of my Patreon. Is a big thank you for their support. My previous Ghost and Tower Gang at Leonard Toad, also at Brigade D's, at ZOVRCK, at _Infinite Zeal, Tim Tell, at Jolin Klebo, big fan of the show, Torme, at Wayne Taggers, Winter Cover Kids, No Free Lunch, Jack, Mark, Guestable, Jacob, Winter Guy, Biblical Energy Podcast, and John Black, you beautiful bastard. And with that, guys, I do have a fun outro. I have a couple outros. I have one big outro and a couple like lead-ins, I guess you could say, to the outro. So with that, let's go ahead and get into it. There was this outro territory. You'll see why I'm making this outro here in a second. But apparently in Seattle, there's been this raccoon seen around. They're calling Jimothy. I'll show you a little video of him. You'll see why he's such an adorable little booger. Here is the guy. Here is Jimothy himself.
What am I looking at?
All right, so see that guy? And there you go. See him? He's like a little circle with legs. He's like a goofy little fella. Everyone's loving him. Now, this thing is he has short spine syndrome, SSS. This is a raccoon in Seattle with short spine syndrome. They're referring to him as Jimothy. Apparently, this is actually like a thing you'll see in a lot of different animals. Here's a taxidermied wolf, which is pretty interesting. Apparently, I've also seen other people. Here's a dog. Apparently, this is a dog named Tilly the Friendly Wolf, or Friendly Loaf, that apparently has his own channel and stuff like. So here you go. Here's Tilly the Friendly Wolf. The friendly. I keep want to say wolf because it is red wolf, but Tilly the Friendly Loaf. So here's another little adorable little short-bodied freak of nature. And now I want one. It is basically literally me. All right, here is a cute little outro. We showed you some little cuteness of I don't know, cute little freaks of nature, and now here's another cute little farter of nature. Here's another cute little video of skunks, because realizing how incredibly adorable they are. Although who knows? I'm probably being fooled by AI videos, and this probably isn't even how they look. But whatever, it's adorable, and I love it. So let's go and get out of here. Enjoy this outro. We will see you tonight on Already Dead. Love you all. Bye-bye.